Most traders wake up every day with the same thought in their mind. If only I had more capital, everything would be different. They scroll through charts, watch other traders post profits, see big numbers, and deep inside, they convince themselves, that could be me if I just had a bigger account. But what they don't realize is, the thought alone is the reason they stay stuck, because blaming capital is the easiest escape. It protects your ego. It gives you a reason to avoid the truth. And the truth is uncomfortable. It's not your account size that's holding you back. It's the way you think when money's on the line. Let's slow this down. Imagine someone hands you $1,000 today. No struggle, no effort, just gives it to you. What would you do? You'd probably feel excited, confident, maybe even unstoppable. And that's exactly where the danger begins. Because confidence without discipline is just disguised recklessness. Most small traders don't lose because they lack money. They lose because they lack control. They don't wait. They don't follow rules. They don't respect risk. They react. They chase. They force trades just to feel something. And then when it all goes wrong, they blame the account size. But here's the truth most people run from. Give the same person $10,000, and they will lose it faster than they lost $100. Not because the market is harder, but because their emotions become heavier. The fear becomes stronger. The greed becomes louder. The pressure becomes real. With $100, a loss feels small. With $1,000, it starts to hurt. With $10,000, it becomes personal. And when trading becomes personal, you stop thinking clearly. You stop following logic. You start reacting to pain. This is why more capital doesn't fix your problems, it amplifies them. If you hesitate with $100, you'll hesitate more with $1,000. If you close trades too early with small money, you'll do the same with bigger money. If you revenge trade after a small loss, you'll revenge trade even harder after a bigger loss. Because your habits don't change, they scale. Most people don't want to hear that. They want a shortcut. They want a breakthrough. They want something external to fix something internal. But trading doesn't work like that. The market is a mirror. It reflects who you are under pressure, not who you pretend to be, not who you want to be, but who you actually are when money is at risk. And if you're being honest with yourself, you already know your patterns. You know when you're forcing trades. You know when you're breaking your own rules. You know when you're gambling instead of trading. But instead of fixing it, you look for more capital because it feels easier to say, I need more money, than to admit, I need more discipline. Let's go deeper. Why do small traders rush so much? Why do they overtrade? Why do they risk too much? It's not because they're stupid. It's because they're trying to escape their current reality. They don't just want profits. They want a way out of stress, a way out of pressure, a way out of feeling behind in life. So every trade becomes more than just a trade. It becomes hope. It becomes desperation. It becomes emotional. And emotional trading always leads to destruction. Because when you're trading to escape, you stop thinking long-term. You stop caring about consistency. You only care about now. You want fast results, fast money, fast wins. And that mindset is exactly what keeps you broke. Turning $100 into $1,000 is not about speed. It's about control. It's about doing less, but doing it better. It's about understanding that slow growth is real growth. But most people can't handle slow. They get bored. They get impatient. They feel like nothing is happening. So they create action. They force trades. They increase risk. They try to make something happen. And that's where everything collapses. Because in trading, the more you force, the more you lose. Professional traders don't sit in front of charts all day looking for action. They wait. Sometimes hours, sometimes days. Sometimes they don't trade at all. And that's the part most beginners don't understand. They think trading is about constant movement, constant execution, constant activity. But real trading is the opposite. It's about patience, precision, discipline. You don't get paid for how many trades you take. You get paid for how well you execute the right ones. Now ask yourself this. If you had $1,000 right now, would you trade differently? Or would you just repeat the same habits at a bigger scale? Because that's what most people do. They scale their mistakes. They don't fix them. And that's why they stay stuck. Not because of money, but because of mindset. You don't need more capital right now. You need more control over your decisions. Start thinking differently. Instead of asking, how can I grow this fast? Ask, how can I protect this consistently? Because growth is a result of protection, not aggression. Learn to sit on your hands. Learn to accept small wins. Learn to accept small losses. Learn to walk away, because the trader who survives is the trader who lasts long enough to improve. Most people blow their accounts before they even understand what they're doing wrong. And the sad part is, they think the solution is more money. But imagine this. You become disciplined with $100. You become patient. You become consistent. You control your emotions. You follow your plan. You respect risk. Now when you move to $1,000, everything changes, because now you're not guessing. You're executing. You're not reacting. You're responding. And that's when growth becomes real. But until you reach that level, more capital is just more risk. So stop blaming your account size. Stop waiting for more money. Stop telling yourself one day, because that day doesn't come from outside. It comes from within. Fix your mindset first. Build discipline first. Master your emotions first. Then, and only then, will your money start to grow. Not because the market suddenly became easier, but because you finally became better. And this is the part most people ignore. They think success in trading is about finding the perfect strategy, the perfect entry, the perfect indicator. But the truth is, most strategies work. What doesn't work is the person using them, because even the best strategy will fail in the hands of someone who lacks discipline, someone who can't follow rules, someone who lets emotions take control. Think about how many times you've had a good setup. Everything looked right. The analysis made sense. The risk was clear, and yet you still messed it up. You entered too early or too late. You closed too soon or held too long. You added risk when you shouldn't have, or hesitated when it mattered most. And after all that, you didn't blame your execution. You blamed your account size. But deep down, you knew the truth. This is why trading is one of the most brutal games in the world, because it exposes you. It shows you your weaknesses, your impatience, your fear, your greed. And most people don't want to face that, so they hide behind excuses. They say, I just need more capital. But what they really need is more self-awareness. Because once you become aware of your patterns, that's when everything begins to change. You start noticing when you're about to force a trade. You catch yourself when emotions start rising. You pause instead of reacting. And that pause, that small moment of control, is what separates losing traders from profitable ones. It's not intelligence. It's not luck. It's not even experience. It's control. Control over your actions, control over your emotions, control over your impulses. And control is built, not given. You build it through repetition, through discipline, through doing the right thing, even when it feels uncomfortable, especially when it feels uncomfortable. Because let's be honest, the right decisions in trading rarely feel good in the moment. Closing a trade early to protect profits feels like you're missing out. Letting a trade play out according to plan feels like you're risking too much. Sitting out and not trading feels like you're falling behind. But those are the exact moments that define you, because weak traders chase comfort. Strong traders follow discipline. And discipline is what turns small accounts into something bigger. Not hype, not motivation, not luck. Discipline. You don't need to feel confident to trade well. You need to follow your plan. You don't need to feel ready. You need to be consistent. Because feelings change, but rules don't. And the moment you start trading based on feelings is the moment you lose control. This is why most people stay stuck. They treat trading like a game of emotions instead of a game of structure. They wake up and ask, how do I feel about the market today? Instead of asking, What does my system say? And that small difference changes everything. Because your feelings are unreliable. They change with every win, every loss, every move in the market. But your system, if it's built properly, remains consistent. And consistency is what creates growth. Not big wins, not lucky trades. Consistent execution, even on days when nothing happens. Even on days when you lose. Even on days when you feel frustrated. Because real traders don't chase perfection. They chase consistency. And consistency doesn't come from having more money. It comes from having more control. This is why the journey from $100 to $1,000 is not about the money itself. It's about who you become in the process. Do you become more patient, more disciplined, more focused, or do you become more emotional, more impulsive, more desperate? Because the answer to that question determines everything. Most people rush the process. They want results now. They want proof now. They want success now. But real growth takes time. And that's what makes it so difficult. Because you have to keep showing up. Even when you're not seeing results yet, you have to stay disciplined. Even when it feels like nothing is working. You have to trust the process. Even when your emotions are telling you to quit. And that's where most people break. Not because they can't succeed, but because they can't stay consistent long enough to see it happen. So they quit. Or they start over. Or they look for something new. A new strategy, a new indicator, a new approach. But the problem was never the strategy. It was always the mindset. You don't need something new. You need to master what you already have. And mastery comes from repetition, from focus, from doing the same things over and over again, the right way, even when it feels boring. Because boredom is part of the process. And if you can't handle boredom, you'll never succeed in trading because the market rewards patience, not excitement. It rewards discipline, not emotion. It rewards consistency, not intensity. So if you're still sitting there thinking, I just need more capital, understand this. More money will not fix your habits. It will expose them. And until you fix those habits, you will stay exactly where you are. So take a step back. Be honest with yourself. Are you really lacking capital, or are you lacking control? Because once you answer that truthfully, that's when your journey actually begins.